So let me ask you a question. Do you ever get the feeling that either you are not enough, that you're not doing enough, but you don't actually have enough? Because chances are, if you're anything like me and what I've experienced, then that is the reality. That's the truth. And if you don't know already, my name is Muhammad Adam Ali. I'm the founder of um, the Fearless Families community. And I also built my own multi six figure business online and did so within 6 months of starting out. But the truth is that I personally had all of that financial success, but I felt internally poor. And I want to share with you here on this video as well, basically some of the biggest lessons that I've learned over my experience as I share my story, and how you can avoid making the same mistakes that I've personally made, so that you can experience a lifestyle which is more so what I'm actually living and working towards now, where I experience more abundance in my life and more joy and fulfillment. So I'd love to break that down for you here today. If you want to grab a notepad and pen, this webinar web class is going to teach you a lot that you probably haven't heard about before, and it's going to be a huge wake up call for you as well. So I'm going to dive straight into my presentation. All right, so here's the beginnings of my story, and how I personally started out is I started off, and I remember when I was born, I was born a dreamer, and I dreamed so big that I wanted to become super successful, be king, and like just be known to be one of the greatest of all times in whatever I did. So I had this big dream for myself, especially as a middle child as well, like I wanted to prove myself because I never truly felt enough internally, as there was that comparison to my older sister. I wanted to do so much good. And so I then started to become the passionate worker, because just being a dreamer means that you don't actually get any results. And if we're speaking about the game that we live in this day and age as well, like we know that the world is revolving around money, and that's one of the measures of success that people have, whether you like it or not. So I then started to work towards this goal of becoming one of the best athletes of all time as a passionate worker. So I started to play tennis at a national level. I played a few different sports actually at national level. I wanted to become a professional, but that didn't actually pan out how I intended. So yeah, I wanted to go pro in playing tennis, but the issue with playing that sport is that it's really expensive as well to buy rackets, to travel, to compete, and my sponsors back then was just literally my parents, and coming from a background where they have ancestors and grandparents that came from poverty, like they also had that similar scarcity, poverty based mindset, but have a lot of vision, ambition, and drive, is that they become this hustler, a person who wants to prove a point and wants to be able to become financially successful to prove their worth. And that was me. I worked in like 18 different jobs before I was 25. There's one where I was working in Nando's, like literally doing 60-hour weeks. It was crazy. And one of the biggest reasons for why this became my reality is because I got given the blueprint. I remember when I was about 21 years old, I read this book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, because I wanted to become rich. I wanted to, change the narrative in my family so that I wasn't the only person that was. I wasn't just going to continue on, the 9 to 5 working lifestyle. I wanted to do something different. I saw so much on social media, people living different. So I found out about this cash flow quadrant, and I felt like, damn, I've been given the map that actually tells me, where I need to go, where I am right now. Because it was really clear to me that I was an employee and I was trading my time for money. I had no leverage. And so that's why I didn't have that much income coming in. It was really just so simple. And I knew that I wanted to become the investor or the business owner so that I had leverage and passive income. And so I just tried to, work more and get to that stage of having my own business, becoming an investor. And this changed my life, really, like after seeing this, because it helped me understand that I couldn't no longer just trade my time for money anymore. And so I aspired to become this investor who was, profitable, and having my returns. But, as I started to work harder on my dreams towards my goals and visions, I actually attracted working with some investors who were willing to invest into, myself, my products, and things like this. But what I found was that although they were investing money to get a financial return, there was this gap in terms of lifestyle and fulfillment. So they were successful in that aspect, but it just, again, didn't feel like I wanted to necessarily trade places with this person. But I saw like so many of these successful people, and they were living a little bit differently in terms of their lifestyle, but didn't necessarily have that same fulfillment that I can speak about. So you've also got the time of my life where I you could quote unquote call me the unfulfilled worker, the one who I was investing into my own business. But the issue was that as I was doing that, like, I invested into a business that it didn't really necessarily align with who I was, my vision, my values. And so as I was like investing my time and money, I just didn't necessarily feel like this is something that I want to personally work towards. Like there was some inner resistance there, is the best way I can personally describe it. There wasn't that same passion. So I was hustling, like, working on my 9 to 5, my 5 to 9, but didn't have that same fulfillment. And then I also got to the stage where I became the non-executing visionary. So this is basically the person who, they've got the dream, and they're putting in the investment into their business. And I was investing into ads like every single month. And sometimes I would invest, but I wasn't actually executing myself. I wasn't putting in that work and effort. I heard this one quote that was just so simple, but it made so much sense. And it was, the two master skills of life are the science of achievement and the art of fulfillment. And you've either got some people who master one or both, but it's rare that you have people who are the people that have got both of them together in their life, because some people don't even master one or the other. And I met a couple of these masters, people who, yes, they'd done like billions in sales for their businesses, so had completely mastered the science of achievement, especially in the area of financial success and business. But the thing that stood out for me was the magnetism that these people had in terms of their fulfillment and joy that was pouring out from their heart, because they had so much love that they actually had for what they were doing. And that's what I wanted to have for myself. On the left, there was Balázs Cardos, and that was Wadia Defesh. And they changed my life. And I ended up reading this book called Happy Money that really reflected what I was seeing from these people, which was, it's called The Japanese Art of Making Peace with Your Money. And in this book, it teaches so much more than just what Robert Kiyosaki's was, that was, I'd say, surface level financial IQ, because this was actually going deeper. Financial IQ is roughly about 5% of a person's financial success, for what that represents. Financial IQ is things like assets, liabilities, and awareness over tax and regulations and things like that. It's really important. A lot of investors have good financial IQ, but the more important thing is to have what we call financial EQ. And so financial EQ is this, it's the 95%, and it's more about understanding your relationship with money. What's your money story? What are your limiting beliefs around money? What do you currently have as your mental image as to how you see money? What's your own personal self-image and your attachment styles and things like that? So so much more than just, the assets and the liabilities. And this even relates to, what it's like in terms of the actual human mind as well, where 10% of the mind is the conscious mind, or even some people say 5% again. And that's the surface level. It's not actually the powerful operating system for what governs our results and our behavior. The more powerful thing is our subconscious mind. It's our beliefs, our emotions, our habits, and our values. So it's coming into the EQ side of things again. So if it's subconscious, it's something that's beneath the surface. We're unaware about it. And for me, for a lot of my journey personally, and what I've seen for others as well, is that we actually live out of this thing called subconscious scarcity. So what this means is that you don't even realize it and recognize it, but there are hidden beliefs and hidden memories and hidden emotions that we've buried beneath us, and that are there because they've just been passed on from our adult parenting, and it's governing our results, and this is why we don't actually experience the abundance in our life that we truly want. It's all subconscious. And I can relate this to a few different things, whether it's spiritual, esoteric, scientific, and I'm going to touch on all three as best I can. In The Lion King, one of my favorite movies of all time, Mufasa says to him, everything the light touches is our kingdom. And Simba says, what about that shadowy place over there? And Mufasa's like, that's Bradford. You must never go there. That's not actually what it says in the movie, but this is a little meme that I've seen. I'm born from Bradford as well. And I'd say that this is, out of all of the UK, this is one of the places where it's notorious for being a place where everybody has that scarcity-based mindset. And so even in the story of like The Lion King, it's a story that's almost biblical, and it's showcasing the fall of man going from the place of abundance to a place of scarcity. And the fall is literally within Genesis in the Bible, how Adam and Eve, they fall to earth from the Garden of Eden after they're tempted by Satan, who basically says, eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And so they elevate in terms of their intelligence, eating from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. But this awareness now actually is their fall. It's the same way that it's like in the Matrix, how you've got Morpheus who tells Neo about how his whole reality is actually a lie, and that the Matrix is something that's within his own mind that's covering up what's the truth that actually will truly set him free. So how this relates to in the Bible is that in Genesis it says, and the Lord God commanded the man, saying, of every tree of the garden you may freely eat. Now, what does that really mean? If you think every tree and freely eat, it's freedom, it's abundance. That was the initial intention of God, and that was basically the place of abundance. But then once they ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, death was introduced, and they descended to scarcity as their mindset. And so the way that they'd be able to have this abundance mentality again is by eating from the tree of life, and eat and live forever. Forever means infinity. Okay, so what is infinity? Infinity is something that is endless, it is boundless. And if you look at the symbol of infinity, you turn it around on its head, and it's associated to what? It's the number 8, right? 8 in numerology, which is the science of numbers. This is the number for infinity. It's the number for abundance. It's the number for true wealth and success and things like that. So it's all talked about over here in so many different ways. But yeah, that's like it's saying, it's connected to abundance, prosperity, the resourcefulness, and this is this is the key. Right. So another thing that I wanted to kind of introduce real quick here as well is that Dr. John Demartini talks about this thing where it's like a lot of people, when it comes to that emotional intelligence, they don't get to a point where they can actually transcend emotion. So they stay in a state which is, this is what I was like for a while, a state where it's like very unbalanced, unpredictable, like an unstable atom almost. And from that instability, then they never get to experience true love. It's more so infatuation. It's kind of like when you meet somebody for the first time, you see all the best things about them, and you're madly in love with them to the point where it's not even real. And then you find out about who they actually are. And then if you love the real them, then that's true love. But if you then have the opposite, which is you hate the person who they've become, then that's kind of like the balance of that. So true love, he says, is the synthesis of perfect blending of all dualistic perceptions, the summation of all polarities. The parts of a person, it's their shadow and their light. Love is not an emotion, it transcends emotion. So in the world, we have this law of polarity where nothing can exist without the equal and opposite. This is a law. This is not something that's not scientific. It's scientifically proven that even from an atomic perspective, and in quantum science, that there is this law of polarity in the world, and there's a polarity of emotions on the emotional spectrum. Another thing that you can see about this spiral right? Is it, what shape is it in? It's in the shape of an 8 in the infinity. So what does this mean? It means that to come to this place of abundance, we have to be able to experience all of this at once as well, and have that appreciation for the dualism at the same time. This is what it means to become what I call the abundance manifester. I personally experienced this, and I've also helped some other people, come to becoming abundance manifestors as well, from being in places of scarcity, and that completely transforms their life, because it's not just the financial that comes from this, it's so much more, right? Becoming an abundance manifestor, what it means is that money flows to you easily, wealth and opportunities. You thrive doing what you love. That's where you have experience of not just having fulfillment, but also being within your purpose. When you're in your purpose, things just, they flow so effortlessly. You exude confidence and attract success. You become magnetic as your authenticity is being expressed and influential. This is what it truly means to become an abundance manifester, right? So in order to get to this stage, and any stage of mastery, because if there's something that you'd want to manifest, why wouldn't you want to manifest more abundance in your life, like true abundance, that joy from the success? So it's like the levels to get there is that you have to go from a level of incompetence to a level of competence. And there's 4 levels in total. So there's unconscious incompetence, which is basically where you don't even know what you don't know. You don't know what's the subconscious beliefs that are holding you back, the 95% that's beneath the surface. You're not even aware that they exist and that they're even there. The conscious incompetence is when you become aware of those subconscious beliefs, but then you're able to adopt and change those through rewiring your subconscious mind. And then eventually you're consciously competent, because you're doing that using your conscious resources. And now finally, it's a thing where it's just normal. That's how you're operating every single day, from a place of abundance. And you don't even know why you're feeling so abundant. It's just who you are right now. And so in order to go from this place of unconscious scarcity, which is practically like being in hell almost, internally especially, but to some people even externally, and being on heaven on earth, this place of true abundance that God intended from the very beginning, if you want to use that that perspective. And the way to get there is just like you go from any place to another when you are setting out on a destination, on a journey, is you need 2 things. You need to have a map and you need to have a vehicle. It's really that simple. We don't need to overcomplicate this. So in order to get there, number one, I want to show you what the map is. And this is where you want to, really take down the notes, because there's so many gems I'm going to be dropping here that I wished somebody would have given me this 5-6 years ago when I was starting out on my journey, before I made my first 6 figures online and stuff like that. It would have saved me a lot of pain, frustration, money, time, energy, everything. So here's what you want to understand about the map to abundance, is that in order to, first of all, get to that place of abundance, you have to be able to know where you are on the map. That's the first skill that you have to have. And some of you might not necessarily be able to identify exactly where you are here on the map, which is why once you finish watching this video, then you can jump on a call, and one of our experts, what we'll do is we'll even help you through doing like a bit of a personality assessment, figure out exactly where you are on this map right now. It's not just situational, but it's also based off of your, like, how you're showing up as a person too. So that's something you can look forward to. We'll throw that in for free as well. But with where you're looking at right now, like, you'll figure out, okay, where am I on the map currently? And then what's the next place that I need to go to? So how the map is formed, by the way, is that we have 3 different things that we have to master in order to experience abundance. And so it's alignment, assignment, and attainment. And if you remember back to my story, there was always times of my life where I had one of them nailed down, but I didn't have all 3 of them at once. And some people go through their entire life without having all 3 of them nailed at once. So some people go through their entire life not having almost any of them, right? I think we're all born as dreamers, but aside from that, some people never hustle, some people never become investors, some people never become any of the other ones either. But the cool thing about this is that there is this trinity that exists, and it shows up so many different places, that is not just like the Bible where they talk about the Trinity of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. By the way, I am Muslim. I've come from that background as well, but I can see these trinities everywhere. and it's something that is the truth. So in Islam, like, we have the monotheistic religion, which I believe is about the one true God that exists in the middle. That's the Abundance Manifesta. And it's the combination of all of these that creates the Abundance Manifesta, that Trinity together, all in one. So it's the same thing, but you can't have it without the three coming together. So the way that this Trinity sets up as well is like you've got identity, activity, and property. Some of you right now, you may be acting as that hustler who's putting in a lot of the work, but the reason why you're hustling and you're not actually acting smart and leveraging other people's time and things like that is because you're identifying as an employee and not as an entrepreneur. You're identifying as someone who is less than who you are. So you got to get back into alignment. And it's these like little things that you got to be able to understand and do as a company. Like when I built my company, for example, if I knew more about this Trinity, man, it would have saved me so much pain, challenges, hustle, everything, money, because I didn't know that you have to have the alignment of the values, the vision, and the mission together all in one to create the abundance within a company standpoint, because I'd mastered it on my own personally, but I hadn't within the business. So this is like a really important map that you want to take with you here today, and it's incredible, right? So it's like an update from the cash flow quadrant almost, because the thing about the cash flow quadrant is that you've got the hustler and the investor that's in there, that's the self-employed versus the business owner, but you don't actually have anything that is in relation to energy. So the hustler is the person who they're going to be associating their value with money because they value money and they're willing to give time, whereas the investor values time and is willing to give money. So that's kind of like the cash flow quadrant metrics that there is, but there isn't the alignment within it. That's what's missing. So this really does bring in a gap that I would say that was not necessarily talked about in that game, and that helps people to experience the holistic success in their life with both the fulfillment and the achievement. And then the cool thing about this this map as well is that if right now you're struggling to find out, where are you on the map and where do you need to go? One of the easiest ways that you can use your internal GPS system is by listening to your emotions and figuring out where's the fear, where's the discomfort. Because what the fear and discomfort allows you to do is actually helps you to figure out what's the next place that you need to go to, because chances are your comfort zone is the area where you've been for such a long time. So you could have been a dreamer for a very long time and in that circle. And if it's comfortable for you to stay there and can you continue meditating and dreaming and visualizing your success, then you know that that's not where you're supposed to be. And that's probably where you are. You're in that place of the dreamer. But as soon as you start to notice that there's fear coming up around the idea of I need to go and take action and, go and start actually doing some things to get results, but there's apprehension and fear that's coming down, I need to invest into something with money, like, that's the direction that you have to go into, and you have to lean into your fear rather than leaning away from it. And it's from that the growth then starts to appear in your life. This is when you start living your dreams, finding your purpose, conquering objectives. So it's your choice, whether you want to stay in that place of comfort or actually grow. But that's the key. So you've got the map down to a T now. Now what you need to have the vehicle. Okay. So the vehicle is something that's going to take you from that place of the unconscious scarcity to the place of unconscious abundance. And there's so many different options that I personally tried out when it came to coming into alignment, because I knew there was something missing. So I tried different personal growth and transformation programs. Most of these that I've tested, and you can personally research this as well, that roughly between 50 to 5,000 pounds. I paid all of the amounts that I'm going to be showing you here on the screen today as well for pretty much everything that is here. I've gone through these experiences, so I know that this is how much they cost. I've invested into mindset mastery courses from 500 to 3,000 pounds as well for multiple ones. Life coaching even paid even more than 5,000 pounds for life coaching. I know it's crazy, but that's the truth. Spiritual retreats as well. These are amazing because like you can experience like a big transformation in terms of you coming back into alignment just from like a few days and things like that. But they can be, again, like pretty expensive. So I've also got some solutions here that I did to come into my assignment, my divine assignment, figure out what's that one thing that's going to be my thing and how can I follow that, whether that's affiliate marketing, drop shipping, social media marketing, whether it's having a real estate business. It's the assignment, and the assignment's got to be something that can actually make you money. Like, you don't want to do something that is going to mean that you're going to have like another job doing delivery driving to cover your bills. Like, you want to have something that can actually create the financial abundance too. So you need to find the assignment through the blueprints that I've tested out and paid thousands of pounds for. There's ongoing accountability that you can get. Sometimes it's like up to £10,000 for certain programs, which I've again paid before. Affiliate programs, and these are good as a second stream of income because you don't have to create anything yourself, but can be kind of expensive too. The financial leverage and credit optimization. This allows you to, even if you don't have that much money right now, if you can have the credit, then you can leverage and you can get more based off of your situation financially. And I did that, but it can be difficult to get the knowledge and all of this unless you pay quite a bit of money. Same thing for coming into attainment. You want to get into attainment. What is attainment really? It's being able to invest and get great returns financially, returns on investment. The other two are returns on energy and returns on time. But we're talking about now, like, how can you get the returns on investment from what you put in? And you can do mentorship for high level growth. Like, you can do that. I've done that before. It's been epic. Some of the best things I've done with Balaj, Wadia, things like that. Live events and networking opportunities. Go in person, go and meet people, and they'll introduce you to the right, things that you can watch, learn from. And one of the best things that I personally did was going into an investment club, a private mastermind where I was able to surround myself with the people who had invested 10 to 100,000 pounds to be in the room. And just by being in that room, you're now in the room with other investors who they're all putting money in to diversify their portfolio in multiple streams of income. And you have that awareness as to where you should put your money when you have it, and things that are actually working because people can show you the results. Those are really cool rooms to get into as well. So the options that you have right now is that you can stay where you are, let things get worse, and we can actually scientifically prove this as well with what we call the law of entropy. It's the second law of thermodynamics. You might have heard about it in chemistry if you remember doing that. But it's the degree of randomness that or disorder. So it basically states the universe is always increasing in chaos. So a lot of people think that if you just kind of stay as you are and you don't really do anything to change your situation, that things are more likely to get better just by leaving things as they are. But that's not how things really work in the universe. Things actually become more disorderly, and that's scientifically proven too. The option that you have, number two, is that if you don't want it to happen, then you can actually make change in your life, because insanity is the definition of that. Continuing to do the same thing over and over and expecting a different outcome. If you want a different outcome, you got to do something different. So one thing that you can do, you can basically do what I gave as potential suggestions. You can go and invest into a bunch of different solutions right now that can click you into alignment, assignment, and attainment. And it's like a bunch of different vehicles. So you can just mix them all together, blend it, and you can, from that, like, have this unique source that you've given to yourself. But because you get it from lots of different places separately, then the only problem with this is probably going to be quite expensive. So you might end up wasting a little bit of time trying to find them, the energy, money, with different vehicles, and running out of resources. But there is a simpler way, and this is a third option, and it's what I call the all-in-one vehicle. And I've done this before as well, where I've invested into other platforms, and it's just given me like a whole bundle in comparison rather than having separate. So instead of jumping from one to another, you just choose like one all-in-one luxury yacht that includes everything, like the mindset, the business stuff, the spiritual stuff, moves you smoothly and efficiently without having to buy programs perpetually forever, and gets you to Heaven Island like faster with ease and enjoyment. You just get to have it right there and then. So this is it. Like, you got to ask yourself, what's the best thing for you? And if there was that option that's number three that you want to go for, the best place that I can personally show you right now that's going to be the fastest to get you to that place of abundance at a rate that's actually affordable, because that's the thing that you're probably most concerned with right now if you're watching this video. Can you afford it is the biggest thing. The best place to do that, I would say, is with Fearless Families, right? And the reason why is because the whole mission of Fearless Families and our movement is to change people's stories and change people's lives through taking them through a holistic transformation in their life, from business to spiritual, mindset growth, everything. That's the whole idea. So we offer so much in terms of the platform, the movement, the community, and it's online, offline. There's a hybrid of both in terms of our experiences that we give to people. And I'm not going to show you everything that's within the actual platform right now, because that's what it's going to be more so for a call that you have later on. But there's everything. There's the education, there's the empowerment, there's the entertainment, there's just so much fun that's in here, as well as value. It's incredible. So this is the map and the vehicle that I'd personally recommend, so that you can actually get to that place of unconscious abundance in the fastest space of time with the least amount of effort and sacrifice, so that it's actually going to work as well, because you've got something that's high quality. So what that will allow you to do is, after joining Fearless Families, get yourself onto that place on the beach, whether you want to do that with your family, on the Heaven Island. And it's a metaphorical place, by the way, as well, that I'm speaking about, because for you it might be staying at home with your family, or it might be traveling the world, doing what I've personally done in my life as well. I've traveled to like over 18 different countries in the last couple of years, working remotely, because of the fact that I went into this place of becoming the abundance manifester. So yeah, if this sounds a little bit interesting for you, next steps is book a consultation to find out where you really are on the map, number one. Okay, once you find out where you really are, we'll customize a solution for you to reach the abundance manifester stage within, with whatever schedule, whatever budget or attention that you have to give, so that you can have the perfect abundance vehicle for you, that you'll be able to take the keys for, turn the ignition on, and just drive it all the way to where you personally want to go to, as it's something that's going to be tailor-made for yourself. So hope you've enjoyed the presentation. You took some value from listening and heard something unique, and it wasn't just your everyday average webinar. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you change your life for the rest of your life, and potentially becoming part of Fearless Families. We've got a bunch of case studies we can share with you as well, so check them out, and look forward to seeing you change your story, and of course, change your life. Peace and love, everyone. Take care, and we'll see you next time.